This video is brought to you by Skillshare, but more on that in a moment. Achoo! It's me, Vince. You might know me better as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and today we're gonna roast some shit. I'm gonna take some stuff you like, I'm gonna move too far away from the mic while I'm at it. I'm gonna take some stuff you like, and I'm gonna put it in a tin, and I'm gonna set fire to it, and somebody's gonna moan in the comment section. You might think some of the things I say are a little bit outrageous, a little bit unfair, but you're gonna agree with it all, because Big Papa Kenobi knows best. Now, we've settled into a rhythm with this series, the Commander 101 series, to tier list stuff. And I will go back to tier lists, because you all love a good tier list, don't you, you filthy little sluts?
Oh, matron, take them away!
But in today's video, I've decided to avoid doing a tier list, because I hate everything so much right now that everything will just end up in the D for dog shit tier. If you don't like someone playfully ribbing you for your choices in a children's card game, then you should step away now. Press the little X up in the corner, or better yet, go to my channel, click on some of the other videos. I've got other stuff. This video here, this might appeal to you. This is me opening Ricky Martin trading cards. You think I'm joking? I'm not. So I'm going to roast some of the most popular and some of the most well-loved tribes in all of Magic the Gathering. If you don't know what a tribe is a collection of creatures that shares a creature type. For example, elves are a tribe, whereas cars are not.
Lightning McQueen, yeah, good job!
But before we roast, I quickly need to make some bread. So here's your ad integration. Don't forget that Skillshare are sponsoring this video. They reached out to sponsor me for hobby content that helps to inform and teach my audience.
Mamma mia.
Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take those next steps in advancing their creative pursuits, with an absolute ton of classes covering topics from illustration to web development to marketing. There's loads of stuff on there. It's aimed at curious people looking to develop their skill sets, whether that be for beginners or pros, and it offers classes that combine both video lessons with class project modules that help you to internalize the learning. In these ad integrations before on the channel on stream, I've talked about how I've used Skillshare to improve my Photoshop skills for my thumbnails, for understanding cameras and lighting and ISO and focal length and stuff to make the videos look nicer. It's also giving me some insight into the production of larger scale video projects, watching Marquez Brownlee's insightful YouTube success video series, where we get a look at his workflow and his philosophy towards approaching video projects. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Like I said, a link in the description below so you can get your free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your own creativity today. A big thank you to Skillshare for supporting the content. Let's get on with the roasting. Let's start with the big one, shall we? Let's start with the big fish. Let's start with humans. Players gravitating towards humans are one of two things. They are either normies for normal people who will play nothing but dwarves, elves, and humans in their D&D games and don't like fun. Sounds like it's describing me. Or they're super competitive tryhards, because humans being the most common and most plentiful tribe in all of Magic on every single plane and in every single part of the multiverse, every fucking corner we go to, they have some of the best tools in Magic because of this. This means that there are good decks in Modern and arguably Legacy that just sling all the human cards together and they love life. And that's it. It's a dichotomy. There's just two avenues. You're either a fucking normie or you're a sweaty tryhard. Next up on the big fish bracket, it's merfolk, because they are fish. I've never really understood the fascination with merfolk as a tribe. They just do what all the other tribes do by getting bigger, and sometimes they have evasion strapped onto that by having Island Walk. Cool. Honestly, is it a sex thing? It's got to be a sex thing. The slippery scales, the wet gills, the constant losses at a competitive level and events being some form of negging. People have to be really into this shit to keep playing the deck. Do they get off on it? Speaking of fetishes, let's talk about slivers. Whilst all tribes are the MTG deck building equivalent of painting by numbers, just colour between the lines and do as the cards say, and you're probably in for a good time, slivers take the fucking biscuit. And by biscuit, I mean a actual sweet piece of biscuit, not what the Americans call biscuit, which is like, I don't know, a piece of flannel you rubbed in your arsehole, or like a dry bit of tire. You guys have some really fucked up food habits. Slivers are the tribal tribe, where instead of getting to do their thing really well when you just play their cards in your deck and feel big brain, if you build into them right, they instead do all of the things moderately well. They are the jack of all trades that also look a bit like a goose's penis. Now, I don't know what a goose's penis actually looks like because I'm just too afraid to Google it at this point, but this is what I imagine a goose's penis looks like. They did this interesting thing when updating Slivers to take the old hive always adapting and growing thing and have them become humanoid in a core set a few years ago. And by a few years ago, if I looked up the actual date, I'd probably feel very fucking old, but I remember that pre-release fondly. I opened 2 Megantic Slivers in 2 different pre-release pools. People probably thought I was cheating when I just slammed 2 of the fuckers into play in 2 separate different pre-releases. It was definitely a case of being better lucky than good. But this humanoid version of Slivers was almost universally disliked. I liked it from a conceptual level, but having them look like discount predators from the bargain bin wasn't great. I really want them to continue this. I want to see like salaryman Sliver or blue collar worker Sliver. I want to see Slivers in suits and overalls do mind-numbingly boring tasks because they've become more human than humans are now. Commit to the bit, wizards. Commit to the bit. Next up we have zombies. Again, I do wonder if this is a sex thing. The sweet scent of rotting meat, the scraggly ends of broken bones, the thick ichor of blood, the bulbous sweating sag of exposed internal organs. It can't be a sex thing, surely. I guess zombies are meant to represent a horde that can be stinky and come back from the bin, and they're overwhelming, all that shit. I love zombies from like a visual and thematic place, but I think mechanically they aren't really that exciting, and they don't really ever fulfill the horde mentality. There are a few cards, like the Army of the Damned or whatever the fuck it's called, the one that gives you 13 zombies from the original Innistrad block. That card fits, but most of them don't, honestly. One of the other ones on this list, which is coming up next, actually fits the horde thing way better. But I will say, Grim Grin is my boy. What a fucking lad. Elves are probably a sex thing as well. I think a lot of these are probably sex things. But elves have a far more interesting mechanical identity than zombies do. I actually think they have a much better horde feel to them as well, generating extra tokens and mana and card advantage to get the ball rolling. Elf Ball refers to the rolling critical mass of elves that either overwhelms your opponent or summons a big ham monster to go ham smash smash. In some ways I wish, to go back a little bit, that Zombie Ball existed. I wish that zombies could in some way do what elves do in terms of creating this unstoppable momentum. And zombies don't. Zombies kind of fit into the aristocrat camp of like gameplay and stuff, which is cool. Like, I'm glad that exists, but vampires also touch into that as well in more recent sets. So I feel like zombies' actual mechanical identity is kind of lacking. But elves, they swarm, they amass, they become a big fucking ball. I'm also not going to sit here and be all Jimmy Big Bollocks Mr. Toxic Masculinity by complaining about the elves being effeminate or emasculine. It's an easy low blow to go for elves in fantasy fiction. If you have that issue, or that's your go-to humour in this circumstance, try a little harder, darling. Dragons. The midlife crisis of Magic cards. Much like a sports card that's big, expensive, and flashy, people slammer-jamming dragons into play are often overcompensating for some sort of insecurity in their life. Whether that be the passing of time, the grey hairs found in their beard, or the distance between them and loved ones. Or it could just be that they've got a tiny dick. Vampires are a weird one for me. On one hand, I love the Vampire the Masquerade setting where vampires are an amalgamation of superhero, wizard, and monster. But on the other hand, I do really want to take the piss out of all these goths who just wanted to be pricked by Big Daddy Markov, and I'm not a big fan of Twilight either. Vampires are the tribe I probably hear about the most at a casual level, alongside the next entry on this list. When someone says, "that will go so well in my vampire deck," that is usually code for you're a kitchen table player and you don't know what modern is. And that's fine, it's okay. I'm just going to look down upon you when I sit and play the more established, the more refined tribes, the more cultured and civilized tribes, like horses. The ones that haven't had their image marred by a plethora of bad pop culture, t-shirts, bumper stickers, and memes. What I would love to see, though, is more what we do in the Shadows style vampires, a comic relief version of vampires. Basically, I want a card where Matt Berry tells me to fuck off in the flavor text.
Fuck off.
Angels are the other super casual beginner starter kit. This goes in my angel deck kind of thing. It actually makes me pause and pity the poor noob that said it. Angels are kind of cool in the biblical sense, like all eyes and no dicks kind of way. But unfortunately, much like wolves and vampires, they've been marred by several decades of terrible t-shirts, bumper stickers, and memes. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are just shit dragons. You know it, I know it, and even Trevor with his Morphlon Dinosaur Storm deck down your local game store, even they know it. Even they're too afraid to admit it. Cats. I love cats. I think they're great. They're just not dogs. To use a joke that I'm sure you're all expecting, I love pussy as much as the next person. But honestly, the problem I have with cats, when it really boils down to it, I like cats. I like cats in Magic too. Leonin Arbiter, the cat Jesus, is my favourite Magic card, or one of my favourite Magic cards in all of Magic. But it boils down to the fact that cats just ain't fucking loyal. Truth be told, if you were being mauled, if you were being attacked or assaulted in your home by a 3-armed automaton sent from the future, a cat is gonna nope the fuck out of there and never come back. Meanwhile, dogs will fight off your futuristic assailant with tooth and claw. They will ride or die to hell and back because dogs are precious. They're wonderful creatures that we as humans are undeserving of. Look, I thought coming into this video I might do this whole thing where I play up my hatred of cats because of my love of dogs. This real, like, you know, hard line stance. But I can't because pets are wonderful and I don't want to shit on you for having pets, even in a friendly roast, although dogs are better than cats. I've met plenty of lovely cats in my time, but none of them will ever compare to my boys. My dogs. Brucey and Bovril, because dogs are the best. Next up, warriors. Completely lacking in a discernible identity and propped up completely by the existence of Najeela. They're pretty much the most boring tribe in the entire game. Of course, we know that cowards cannot block warriors. So of course, warriors have a good matchup on any competitive EDH table, because competitive EDH is just legacy for cowards. Lastly for today, let's talk about the Eldrazi for a moment. Tentacle fetishists and people looking for other people not to have fun. But their powers combined, we get quite an interesting EDH archetype and creature type. Look, Morphlon and similar allowing you to play stealthy 5-color Eldrazi is cheating. If you do this, you're a bad person and you should fucking reflect upon what you're doing. But being able to play big Eldrazi monsters in the command zone like Ulamog and Kozilek and have to use colorless lands to get where you want to be, that shit's unique and that shit's wicked. Before Battle for Zendikar, the tribe's defining trait was destruction on a grand scale. I have talked about this on multiple occasions on the channel, but Annihilator is one of my favourite mechanics in the game. And that isn't just because I like other people at the table to feel fucking miserable, but on the big titans, the idea that this thing is going to be absolutely wrecking anything it swings into, it destroys lands, buildings, equipment, enchantments, and creatures before it even gets into the combative element of combat. It's both impactful in the way that Magic's main kaiju should be, but it's also terrifying, right? Like a doomsday clock. It's a race to stop the awakening of these beasts. You don't want them to cast them, let alone be able to turn them sideways. And that is thematically one of the best mechanics in Magic. Eldrazi were fucking wicked when they were led up to and unleashed, and I love them. I just think the Battle for Zendikar did quite a bit of harm to what Eldrazi were. Instead of these big fucking titans, we got shit like Thought Not Seer, Reality Smasher, Matter Reshaper, and all that shit. And before you say, yes, I knew there were smaller, often color-coded Eldrazi in the original set, like Kozilek's Butcher and all that sort of shit. But those cards were not the main attraction. They were the heralds, the forerunners for the Titans. But when we got to BFZ, although there were more Titans again, missing Emrakul, Kozilek and Nulamog, sure, they're big things, but it was the main attraction was those smaller creatures that turned them into any other tribe. They now had a hasty 5-drop finisher. They had a middle-of-the-road 4-drop hand-disruptive creature. They kind of got to do a lot of stuff that other tribes did and become a tribe in the way that now in Modern Legacy there are Eldrazi decks that play all the smaller ones. And I think they're kind of fucking dull. However, Eldrazi Displacer is one of my favourite cards of all time and I have no bad words said about him. Flicker me harder, tentacled multi-armed daddy from beyond space and time. And that's it! I'm ending on a positive note in a way. I quite like Eldrazi, fucking hate the BFZ ones, and I love Eldrazi Displacer too. So I can't roast you mercilessly. I've got to get you really down, beat you down, and then give you a glimmer of hope, a morsel of meat for you to taste, and you come back for more. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my just ramblings about tribes. Do you think I was harsh? Not harsh enough? Let me know in the comment section below if you felt seen by this video as I shit on your favourite tribe, and let me know what tribes I missed or purposefully missed that you would like to see in the next one. Big shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and the weird shit that I make. In the meantime, be good to one another, roast your friends lately, but be good to strangers on the internet. It's the least we could all do, right? And I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.